I did a reaction to this guy called Wayne Webster. We're gonna call him Officer Wayne, yeah? Officer Wayne. Wayne Webster, the man I told, just go be a police. So today, I'm not gonna do a mad long episode. I'm gonna address this guy, Wayne Webster, who's been running his mouth like an absolute, I don't know, let me not say something too insulting. Yeah, I called him an idiot. I realized on the last video I did call him an idiot, but that was after him running his mouth already. Yeah, that was after him thinking he could get very brave with me, and he's done a load of videos since then responding. But I know he hasn't even watched my video. I've shared something on Facebook already from this guy, right, where he was talking in my inbox. So we're gonna play that. We're going to show how this guy's acting unhinged. But first things first, I just want to show... So this is the video I put out. Wayne Webster. And I got a bit of... Even Terror Slim said I was going too far with this title, right? I said, white rapper wants more black youth in prison. Because that's what I was explaining to him, the outcome of what he's pushing for is going to be. He's pushing for more police involvement, 5-year mandatory sentences for knife carriers, and very much coming from a position of prosecution as his solution, right? And I kept telling him, this ain't really the answer. Go and watch the video if you want to understand why. And I said, tougher sentences don't work. And then I was telling him this on the timeline. He's arguing with me, being completely ignorant, refusing to listen. Even in my inbox saying, I don't give a fuck about anyone else's opinion. Big up Chris Hayes, though. He said the hip hop show was good. Yeah, I'm going to do that again Monday. I'm going to do the second one Monday and continue that. And so I went to the gym. I've just told him tougher sentences don't work. And then I'm listening to Akala's audiobook in the gym, and Akala's talking about the same thing, and he's saying how tougher sentences don't work. And I was like, this is crazy. This is what I talked about on the show last night. Boom, boom, boom. And I realized he was a Tom McDonald fan. And I decided I'm going to play this audio. But anyway, the most important thing, I'm going to try not to diss this guy too much, yeah? I made a point that I called him an idiot, but that was after he got rude in my inbox and all sorts of stuff, yeah? After him blocking me. And I haven't talked about him that loads. I have even said, you know, I'm not completely against everything he's saying. And there is place for conversation on all of it. Yeah, there's place for conversation, but it's just not the key ingredient to... and the key focus to solving knife crime. It's just not. And all it's going to do is target young black boys disproportionately and put them in prison disproportionately. And I played the Akala audio in that video that I just showed that perfectly executes that explanation that he could never even argue with. I'm very sure he's not watched it. He refuses to watch any of these videos, which just shows his ignorance. Why I really want to do this live and what I'm going to build this to is someone actually commented on a video that I didn't mention any solutions. And that's a fair point. I didn't mention solutions in that video. So we need to look at solutions. Now the funniest part, and I'm going to repeat this a few times as I show it, is he started sharing an article today about what they did in Glasgow. Now, he said he didn't know about what they did in Glasgow and how that went. And he's just found out, and it proves him right, because everyone's telling me, all these people are telling me obviously mainly, telling him that tougher sentences don't work. So he's like, look, they did it in Glasgow and proved it. I'm starting to realize this guy has some struggling in intelligence. He's very, very low intelligence. I don't even mean that. Like, it's just obvious. Like, it's actually, I've never seen something so wild as someone to share an article saying it proves he's right, when the article literally, the entire headline of the article is the opposite to what he's saying. Like, literally, it's what I'm saying. It proves me right. And I did know about it. And actually, it was Akala, again, on Piers Morgan, explaining how the Glasgow system proved there's another way. The headline literally says, I'll bring it up, but it says not treating it as a criminal issue and treating it as a health issue or something similar to that. And treating it with care, looking after housing, addressing issues of domestic violence in the home, etc. Like, they solved it, cut knife crime by 50%, literally, by doing exactly what I'm saying and 100% not what he's saying. Yeah, there's one line in it where they say there was a small intervention of tougher sentences at the beginning. Not 5 years, it said 13 months, yeah? And they had a small involvement with the police that they kept at arm's length because the whole thing was not about the police. That's literally what the entire article says. And he's sharing this article all over the place erratically, saying it proves him right. Absolute nutter. Anyway, so I'm just going to play this, what he said to me. And then I'm going to go and play a bunch of the videos that he's been responding, and we're going to just break it down. And I just, like, this ain't a beef with me and this guy, right? I've offered the guy to come on here. He says, I offer it here. I say, why don't you come on the show? You can see, maybe we can talk about this on our live sometime. He turns that down here. First, kind of respectfully. Since then, I've invited him to come on the show that me and Blade have. I've put the feelers out for that invite to be sent, and he said no to that as well. I think he's going to be set up, right? Because him and Blade, he's cool with Blade. He's been on Blade's show. Blade doesn't agree with me on everything, so Blade can be a good mediator. He said no. He doesn't actually, and he's proving that he doesn't really care about this issue that much, and he's just trying to push it with an agenda. But I'm keeping that open. He can come and talk to me about this issue, and we can actually start looking at the Glasgow method and really look at solutions and start actually working on it. Because so far, he's not doing that. But anyway, let's listen to what he says. This is what Wayne Webster said to me in my inbox before blocking me. He blocked me pretty much directly after these 3 messages.
Yeah, do you know what it is?
And he, you can see in the message I said maybe we can talk on the live about this sometime. So this is after me inviting him. I was going to invite him on the show, whatever, and address it. Like, we all do care about this issue, so I was ready to address it with him.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I would love to, whatever, but I mean, given it, to be quite fair, I'm kind of, it's not like I'm being ignorant, but I don't give a fuck about people's opinions, right? Because, like I said, there's innocent kids being killed every fucking week, all up and down our country. Now, what you need to understand is, despite everybody's best efforts, it's still getting worse. I don't know why we're pampering these kids that's carrying knives, right? In all honesty, I'll be straight with you. I think...
And just to, on the issue, just to address this, right? We're not pampering these kids. We're not, right? Not as a community, not around me, not Faz Amnesty, yeah? Not Respect, not like Gangs Unite and all of that. No, they're not pampering these kids. That's not happening, yeah? And it's getting worse because of the government conditions that they're being put under, yeah? So one of the best things I saw pointed out to him this week, as I know someone has said to him, you're going to the cause asking for a solution. You're going to the government, you're going to the police. These are the people that cause the social conditions that lead to knife crime, literally. So there is no solution in doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Give a fuck about them. In my eyes, they're bad kids. I don't know what...
And this is where he goes into, like, really attacking the kids, like, literally showing he doesn't care about them. Do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't care about them as kids. And here's one really, really important thing to say, and it's quite fucked up, but it is what it is, yeah? A lot of the kids who have died in knife crime, they're involved. They're not all innocent kids either, yeah? They're all innocent as much as they're all victims to this system. But there's a lot of them that are involved in gangs, yeah? So you don't give a fuck about them either, yeah? What if the kid who gets killed was carrying a knife too? Is it his fault or not? Like, is it only his fault if he's the one who dies, if he's the one who done the stabbing and not the one, and he lost their beef? Like, we've got to actually have care and compassion for all of these kids, you know what I'm saying? And how they've ended up here, and work out what way we can help them to get away from it.
Why we're pampering...
But this is what he says, yeah? This is what he says instead of compassion.
These kids that's carrying knives, right? In all honesty, I'll be straight with you. I didn't give a fuck about them. In my eyes, they're bad kids. I didn't give a fuck if they go in jail and rot for 50 years. Now, I know that might not be the best attitude to have. But at the end of the day, what are we deeming as good and bad kids? Because we got kids out here like my son who keeps his fucking head down, goes to the same neighbourhood, lives in the same neighbourhood as these kids carrying, and he don't carry a knife, right? I'm straight up going to be addressing all of these fucking kids. I'm going out in the I'm out here doing it. Like, do you know what I mean? From this day forward, mate, I will not fucking go quietly on it. I'm going to be going around chatting to all of these gangs. I'll be...
Yeah, that's the other point I raised before. This week, someone from Bristol has told me they've spoke to him, and they highlighted to him, well, they were just chatting about the situation and kind of highlighting why his solution isn't really the best way forward. And in that conversation, they raised to him who the Bristol gangs are. It just came up, like, he just started talking about who the Bristol gangs are and what's going on out there, right? And it turned out he didn't even know who the Bristol gangs were. Like, he had no idea. He was like, "Oh, is that who they are? Where do they even hang out? Like, where is it?" Because saying he wants to go and talk to them, right? He doesn't even know who they are. So all of this hype you've been talking about, and only now you're getting a bit of attention. I'm talking about it, and people are talking about it. Now you actually want to go and find out what's actually going on. Like, if you actually care, and like for your son's safety, you got a son that age. Yeah, I got a daughter. Yeah, who, she's 18 now. From she was 13, 14, I knew who every gang was in my area. I knew all the details about all of them. Yeah, and I looked into that. For my own safety, for her safety, for me just to have an awareness, yo, that's not a safe place to go. Watch out for these people. Watch out for this. Watch out for that. I know who they are. That's just me taking on a certain responsibility and a certain safety measure in my head, so I can make sure I know what I'm dealing with. I know what my surroundings are. He don't even know what his surroundings are, and he's doing all this for. It just makes it really seem like he's just doing it all for attention to get views on his music video. It looks like he doesn't really care about it.
Be on the radio with it. I'm going.
And it also shows, right? Because he said before that these kids are not doing it for fear. They're just doing it. They're not doing it for protection, and because they're scared. He's doing it. They're only doing it to promote like a gang lifestyle to show off. Yeah, he said that. But if you don't even know who they are, how can you say that? So you're literally just making a stereotype, generic judgment of them without even knowing anything about who they are. It's a fucking joke.
Fucking go quietly on it. I'm going to be going around chatting to all of these gangs. I'll be on the radio with it. I'm going all out, right? And honestly, it saddens me, mate. I like some of the stuff that you're saying. Like, I don't know. I kind of really would like to chat to you further, because I'm sure you're fucking smarter than what you're saying. Like, do you know what I mean? But honestly, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I am smarter than you.
To be fair, mate, I got BPD as well, mate. I got a fucking. So I'm not really the best one to be fucking doing this full stop. Do you know what I mean?
And he says in his song, I said this before to repeat to people, you didn't hear it, so at least you're getting the context. Like, he said in his song, I got BPD, no excuse, which I don't even agree with. Like, it's something to be considerate of and understanding. So, but it's also, and I also don't agree with what you're saying, that means he shouldn't be the right person to do it, because you can have BPD and do whatever you want and work out, navigate that yourself in your own way. But I just don't think he's intelligent enough. I don't think he's intelligent enough to do this, because he's started sharing this Scotland article that literally proves everything he's been saying wrong, and he's sharing it, not realising it says all of that. Like, it's crazy.
But I'm just tired, mate. I'm just tired. I've just had enough of it all, man. But no, bless you, though, brother, no matter what. But I just think that we ain't seeing eye to eye. So to be quite fair, I'm going to turn that down, because unless we talk more about it like this and come to some sort of like, oh no, I'll tell you what then, because otherwise, mate, I'm going to end up coming on and we're just going to fucking argue, mate.
So he's saying basically he won't do a video with me talking about it unless I come to an agreement with him first that I agree with him. So he won't talk to anyone who's got another opinion or something different to add to it, right? Shout out Gleam in the comments. He said the man is no Farron Alex Paul, right? And I don't know how much I touched on that already, but basically, early on he said to me, what's the solution? What do we do then? And I said, well, look at what Faz Amnesty is doing, right? Which is who Gleam is talking about, Farron Alex Paul. Because Farron has an organisation where he goes out and gets knives off young people. He has an organisation where they can hand in their knives, and then he takes them to police stations and gets them destroyed, right? And it happens, like, he's taking thousands of knives off the street, right? And the crazy thing is, another crazy thing happened. The day after I started all of this with Wayne, yeah, with Officer Wayne here, I saw Faz make a post saying that we need tougher sentences, yeah? So like I said in the beginning to him, I'm not saying I'm completely against this conversation, but it's not the main focus. And Faz wasn't saying 5-year mandatory. He wasn't coming with a specific thing. He just said that he feels the current system is not deterring them already, right? And I'm pretty sure I could sit with Farron and have this conversation in depth. And I'm sure Akala could sit with him and have the conversation in depth. And we talk about why that's not the main first thing that needs to happen. He was just talking about a specific situation where someone had been caught with a knife, got a short sentence, came out and they ended up killing someone. Yeah, so cool. That's a context we can actually address something in specifically. Not like this random stuff from Wayne where he's just broadly attacking the community and doesn't actually even know who they are, doesn't know what he's talking about. No, you know what I'm saying? We can talk about sentences in the whole spectrum of everything that's going on, yeah? Alongside the talk about community work, yeah? He's saying we talk about community work after, once this is done, once the police are put in place as the first solution. No, it's the other way around, my friend, yeah? This is the most important thing is addressing how we deal with these young people directly, one-on-one, like, to actually deal with them. Not, and like he's literally said in his audio, he doesn't give a fuck about them. So that's straight away not even involved in what he's doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Liam said you treat the cause, not the effect, or it's endless. Yeah. Alright, let me just finish this, man. I've got a load of videos from him I want to play. We're gonna be here for a minute.
Dude, honestly, no disrespect, but yeah, my people really ain't liking you, man. And
my people really ain't liking you. So he does a lot of effort here to try and convince me to shut up. He's really been trying to convince me to shut up because he's not happy. He's not happy that I'm shutting him down. He really isn't.
And it's a shame because you're obviously friends with Crazy, and I know he can't fucking stand me. He's all the way wrong, though, and I'll fucking say that to whoever. Like, we had a...
Alright, here's where it gets weird, right? So, because I had Crazy on my show, big up Crazy, big up Rising Sun, because I had Crazy on that show for a separate reason, and I know they're all from Bristol, and I knew I was going to address this guy after Crazy left, I asked Crazy, do you know this guy, on the video? And Crazy went, oh my God, what's he done now? Kind of indicated there the problem. He said he ran him out of a park, said he had to run Wayne out of a park sometime. Didn't call him racist, and then I didn't even tell them guys my opinion. I just said to them, you can all go and watch it. I said, he's doing this knife crime thing and saying tougher sentences, and straight away Crazy were like, well, here's my opinion on that doesn't work because boom boom boom. And he's even like someone who's against drill music, against, like, does sit in line with some of the things Wayne's saying, but he wasn't on that for that part and explained why it doesn't work. Yeah. As everyone, nobody's been in agreement with this guy. Nobody from hip hop culture. Yeah, a lot of people who like Police have, but nobody from who's with us. Yeah. So anyway, my point is, he then went on to all these assumptions that all the stuff I'm saying about race and about the communities that get targeted with this is because Crazy has got in my head and told me that he made all these posts about white privilege. So he just revealed that he's got an issue with the concept of white privilege and doesn't accept his privilege. That makes this whole thing really problematic. If you're a person who doesn't understand privilege, you shouldn't be involved in this. That's a fact. That's why you're working with the police. They don't understand privilege either. That's why the police are a problem. Yeah, that's why the police are not a solution. So he's loads of this stuff I want to show now. He keeps talking about how Crazy. The only reason I'm saying all this stuff is because Crazy's convinced me that he's a racist and that he about white privilege. Crazy has said none of that to me. Let me be honest. Me and Crazy are cool now. I really respect Crazy a lot. I kind of always have. But me and Crazy have bumped heads bare times. We're not really, we're not brethren like that. That video me and Crazy done the other day is the first time me and him have spoke in real time. Yeah? And big him up for coming. Like I say, we are cool. You know what I'm saying? We are cool and cool. We're closer now than we have been in the past, but we've never been that cool. You know what I'm saying? We've bumped heads as well. So no, Crazy's not my mate like that. Not to the way he can get in my head, and no one can get in my head anyway. It's either the truth or not. But yeah, it's really funny how basically I haven't overtly called him racist at any point, especially not back then. And he just kind of started revealing all this stuff about himself because he assumed that I'd heard about it.
Moment, that was what it was. He's obviously told you about this white privilege thing I said. Oh, he's fucking racist and all that, mate. This is very, very sad, my friend, because you do not fucking know me, and he does not fucking know me, and I ain't that guy. But do you know what? I generally thought you were better than this, mate. I really did think you was better than this. I'm fucking very disappointed, but God bless regardless. But if you carry on commenting the way you are, a lot of my people's messaging me just saying, look, just block the guy. But I don't really want to block you because I know you'd be like, oh, well, I had my opinion and he blocked me.
Well, he did block me straight after this, so what? And it's like a lot of my people are saying, what people? You're racist, police-loving people. Who cares, bro? I don't care.
You can have your opinion. I mean, it's a fucking stupid one, but I mean, you can have it. Do you know what I mean? God bless you, brother. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure Steve got a bit of part to play in this. Bless his heart.
No, Steve, aka Crazy, has no part to play in this. I've had no conversation with him about you at all, other than the one that can be seen in the video that lasted about 20 seconds.
And on a real, I'll give you a word of advice. I got a bigger name than you know.
Listen to that. I got a bigger name than you know. My video reacting to his song has got 3, maybe nearly 4 times the views of his original song. You do not and never will have a bigger name than me, and I don't even have a big name, so who cares about that kind of shit for one? Yeah, I think he said that reacting because I told him, look, I'll be honest with you, everyone who's gone down this road with me, they end up vanishing and not having a career again. And I didn't mean like I'm gonna cancel you, because they all do that by choice. I never cancel nobody. I just highlight issues, and they all end up backing out and vanishing. It's just what happens.
Right, I got a very loyal fan base, right? You do not have the power, or Steve do not have the power to stop me rapping, right? So there's that. Two, if you're going to come at me like this, right, and you don't know, I'm actually a really good dude, mate, right? Because I got a feeling, because of Steve, you're just fucking looking at it's all wrong. But I'm just going to give you a word of advice. If you come at me, it's going to make you look bad, and that's a fact. But by all means, mate, go.
No, it'll make me look bad to police-loving racists, and I don't mind looking bad to them, because to all normal people, I'm looking great. And the whole of the Bristol hip-hop scene, yeah, everyone in the Bristol hip-hop scene who matters, who is anyone, are all commenting on my video, all agreeing with what I'm saying, and all not agreeing with what he's saying. So I'm here in North London chilling, and Bristol's already on my side, so whatever.
Aspire, do what you want, because it looks like to me now you're all chatting with each other. You're all going to try and gun for me. Go for it, mate. Get as many people as you can. You try your fucking utmost to make me look bad.
I know Crazy's not gunning for him. None of them are. No one else is gunning for him. Like, there's a few comments, but I've not seen Crazy coming for him.
It is not going to happen, my friend.
Alright, that's the end of that, yeah? Little weirdo. Look at this guy's face. I'm going onto his page, right? We're going to try play a couple of these and see what I want.
Morning, gang. So getting some good dialogue going now, right? And I won't say names in this, that and the other, but so I'm just
Novar FLIP.
This. So a lot of people saying tougher sentences, right? Basically, this law ain't going to work, right? Because they said it's been proven. Well, statistically it hasn't, because it's never been a thing.
He's saying statistically it's never been a thing because this specific thing that he's talking about hasn't been done. But the same thing has been done. Do you know what I'm saying? Many a time. So, no. And we pointed out that it's been done in America. There's tough sentences in America, and it doesn't work. It doesn't lead to less crime. It just literally doesn't, right? And all the times that he goes on about, all this other work's been done and it's still increasing. Yes, it's still increasing. We are living in the biggest austerity in history. Yeah, we are living in a situation where austerity is getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Poverty is getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. We can already see the actual factors that are happening that are causing it to rise and rise and rise and rise. So let's address those. But he doesn't want to address those. Yeah? He doesn't actually want to address anything that matters.
I'm just going to address this. So a lot of people saying tougher sentences, right? Basically, this law ain't going to work, right? Because they said it's been proven. Well, statistically it hasn't, because it's never been a thing, right? This law has never been tried and fuck's sake, this law has never been tried and tested. So we would never know, would we? But as it stands...
No, but if it has happened in loads of places in the world and tried and tested, then it has. In his, like I said, he's not very intelligent. He thinks that, because it hasn't happened here specifically like this, then it hasn't tested. No. If this, as a broader actual concept, has been tried and doesn't work, then it shouldn't be our focus. Such a stupid person. So stupid.
Getting away with it. Now, somebody else has made a comment saying, and it was a great comment, they said, oh yeah, well, I think it should be addressed early, like seminars in schools and counsellors and this, that and the other. Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, mate, you're not wrong. That will help. But what you need to understand is most of these kids carrying, they don't go to school. Do you really think they're going to turn up to...
A lot of them do.
Do you really think a kid...
And a lot of them do, and also a lot of them did go to school before they got to that position. So we're talking about solving it before it gets there, yeah? And he's not interested in that.
Do you really think a kid with a gangster bad man mentality, right, that's fuck the world, fuck everything, fuck you, if you're looking at me, I'm going to stab you up. Do you really think that they're going to be going to school and sitting in these seminars? No, they won't. No, they won't. And I'm going to tell you now, my friend, all of this...
Let me just point out the person, I saw the comment of the person talking about, he wasn't talking about seminars, he was talking about intervention work. Do you know what I'm saying? He's summarising it as some kind of seminar that's just, sounds kind of insulting, to be honest. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, put them in front of a seminar and they'll solve it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it might be insulting to them. No, we're talking about real community work, and he's saying forget the community work.
I'm going to tell you now, my friend, all of this pampering these fucking kids carrying, what's all that about? Because in one breath someone's saying, oh, It sounds like I want to punish the world. You should make it softer. Yeah, we should make school softer because the suicide rate in teens is at an all-time high, right? The pressure that we put our kids under in school, that needs to be softer. But as far as rapists raping kids and being out on the street in 3 years and kids waving knives around.
And now he's comparing, he's done this a number of times as well, talking about rapists and kids carrying knives and the same thing, like that's the same type of problem. Like it comes from the same camera. Huh? Very, very problematic. Very undermining.
Kids waving knives around and getting away with it, that needs to be harder, doesn't it? Anyone with half a brain would know this. Now, I'm all for everybody helping these kids. If you want to pamper these kids carrying, you go ahead. But if I can take a potential murderer off the street, which is what they are, right? I can't stress enough about that, because despite all your best efforts and all your, oh, they're just good kids, they're just lost, we got to help them, right? I don't really care about these kids, and I'll be straight up with you. I
said it publicly.
The actual good kids, right? I came from a broken home. Fuck's sake. I came from a broken home. I've had a mental illness. I'm angry as fuck. Never once felt the need to carry a knife. Right? I've had knife.
And here's a very clear point. Yeah? Never felt the need to carry a knife. So if you've never felt the need, then cool, good. I hope you didn't. You know what I'm saying? But if you never had, then how can you tell these kids who have felt the need why they're doing it? You can't. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't tell them why they're doing it if you've never done it. Yeah? And the people who are trying to address this issue need to speak to people who have done it in order to solve it. And they do. He's not trying to. He's actually not trying to help it. Yeah? Me, personally, I don't want to talk about myself too much. I've wrote this. You could search on my Facebook, Knife Crime, and you'll find me asking a question. Who here has carried a knife before? And asking. And my point was, and loads of people came and spoke, and I said, well, the ones of you that haven't, you can't really say why kids are doing that, right? Yeah? He's admitting he's not one of the people that can, yeah? And I don't, like I said, I don't want to talk about myself too much. I have carried a knife in my life, you know what I'm saying? It's not something I've done loads. I've carried my knife, I've carried a knife, I've carried other things than that, worse things than that, yeah? At times in my life when I felt scared, yeah? When I had problems going on that I was scared about. That's the only reason it happened, you know what I'm saying? So I know what that reason is because I've done it. He hasn't.
Never once felt the need to carry a knife. Right, I've had knives pulled on me on fucking loads of occasions growing up. Never felt the need to carry. It's not an excuse. It is not for protection. Because the kid next door to the kid carrying a knife, he don't carry a knife. So how about you just, it's a bad man mentality.
Yeah, the kid next door who don't carry the knife, the kid who does carry a knife, yeah, he's sitting there thinking, if I'm that kid next door who doesn't, then I am in danger. That's literally the reason, yeah? You can't just go, oh, this kid doesn't, so he's addressed his fear in this way, so you all must do it. Cool, we have to help them to try and make that decision, but you can't just say it's a bad man mentality. No, it's pretty much never that, if we're being honest. It's pretty much never that. And him saying that just shows a complete disconnect with who he's speaking about. He has no idea what he's talking about whatsoever, and he's not the person to be addressing this.
Because the kid next door to the kid carrying a knife, he don't carry a knife. So how about you just, it's a bad man mentality. It's because you just think you're fucking, oh, what are you looking at? I ain't fucking having it. That's what it is.
It's because you see what he's doing. He's making a little like mockery comedy thing out of it, and he thinks that's what he's saying. That's his description of what the reason is. It's because are you having a laugh, bruv? Yeah, don't take this for a joke. This is a serious thing. Yeah, and it's so many things about this where I think actually this guy's just actually a total wrong and trying it. Honestly, like it's winding me up.
Now, if you are happy and you condone these kids carrying, then you're part of the problem.
Nobody condones it.
We should have seminars in school, you're right. But anyone with half a brain would know a load of these fucking kids carrying, they don't go to school, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's a gangster thing. It's all fucking wars and this.
Yes.
They're potential murderers, like. And
yes, there's wars, so they're scared.
How you think that them getting caught with knives and getting away with it is acceptable? If that's how you think, you are part of the problem.
Nobody said that.
I will prove this to you, 100%. What I'm going to turn up everywhere, mate. And the fact is, when I turn up and start speaking, 9 times out of 10, people are signing it and I'm winning them over. Well, yeah, anyone with half a brain will listen.
Yeah, because most people support police. Yeah, most people in the normal little businesses you go to, they support police. But in the hip-hop community, we don't rate you. We don't rate your support of police.
I'm going to apologise for my mental illness. I'm not going to apologise for my aggression. I'm loving the dialogue, but you need to come better than this, guys. You need to come much better than this because, like I said, despite all your pampering these kids and wanting the best for them and, just giving them the time and giving them this, the situation's getting worse. It's not getting any better, Right, so now how about it's like, well, you get caught carrying them, bang, you're going out to jail for 5 years. And why we're on about the jailing system?
Because it won't help that.
I've got a lot to say to you, mine. You're the people running these jails. How the fuck you running these prisons? These kids are looking at jails like some fucking holiday camp. We are sending them a gangster experience because they go, oh yeah, I'm just fucking going in, fucking. That's the attitude.
And this is why he's right wing. This is the right wing. This is the generic right wing narrative. Jails are too soft. No, jails are not too soft, man. Stop talking rubbish, yeah. But also, if you do even think that, because the jail system isn't working, let's be real, it's not rehabilitating sufficiently. So, if you know the jail system doesn't work, then why would you be here sitting saying get them in jail? Because do you know what happens in the jail? People get stabbed in jail. You know that. So what's going to happen? What, more people getting stabbed in jail, and you're okay with it as long as it's over there? Like, it's just not a solution. There's just no angle where what you're saying is a solution. It just doesn't actually work. I'm saying, but we're at the end now, I think.
Holiday camp. We are selling them a gangster experience because they go, oh yeah, I'm just fucking going in, fucking. That's the attitude. I mean, I know you can say, well, you're stereotyping. I'm just telling you why it is. Simple as that. Like, so take it how you want.
Yeah, it's a clown, man. Absolute clown. Anyway, let's go back to his page. So I don't know if the next video was when he started talking about me getting very rude. I think it probably was. I just want to see if there was any others I wanted to really respond to, because that was the first thing he did, kind of responded to me, right? Then he did this little video, talking to police, yeah?
So listen, like we said, we're just up Broadway, yeah? Just speaking to these two guys here, right? We're not going to start saying names and badge numbers and all that, but they've been very, very kind. They get... Now, oh yeah, well, so what's your name, mate?
PC Daily 1543.
Boom! Do you know what?
There's no pals.
Before, I was sort of like, two states of mind about coming in, and I'm glad I did. And at the end of the day, like, I can't say if they signed, if they didn't, and what the agreements are, but clearly they've been more than welcome to help. And to be quite fair, they know what's going on here, the prison systems and this, that, and the other. But thank you very much for your time, right? So, and we're saying everybody should be doing their utmost now to try and sort this out, because even these guys will agree there's no excuse to be carrying these knives, given the current state of affairs. So that's them, and that's me. Thank you very much. God bless.
He didn't let them say anything. He ran the narrative. This guy only speaks when he can control the narrative. But yeah, he's interestingly pallying it up with police. One sec. Let me just get this off the screen while I just sort this one out, because let's just get to the one where he started running his mouth.
Morning, guy. Obviously, this is the only time you're going to hear me chat about this Novar FLIP, because I've had a fair few messages him about it now. Messages. He's like big in the scene and this, that, and never mind. The guy's a fucking idiot.
Big in the scene. Yeah.
Crazy, obviously. He's always insinuating.
No, he's not Crazy's mate. I'm not Crazy's mate at all.
Is just making himself look like fucking.
Big up Crazy, you know what I mean? But he's not my mate like that. Me and him are cool, but
obviously,
who's that? Steve LUFC Allen. I don't know who Steve Allen is, but that's not someone I've seen on there. But I'm watching a guy who's put out some videos dissing me, yeah? Shout out to Stephen Trafford, good evening, bruv, yes? Few people are turning up. This live was not planned or announced, so I know it's a bit quieter than usual, but I'm just addressing this guy, Wayne Webster, who has a knife campaign trying to put mandatory sentences of 5 years for knife carriers, which I don't agree with. And like I said a number of times, I don't completely not agree with it. I just don't agree with it as the main focal point of criminalising, because I think we need to help the community of young people. And I've been showing him an Akala clip from Natives that Stephen Trafford there told me to read. I played to him as the breakdown, and it's funny because I've got another Akala clip for him today, and I think someone else suggested it, but the context of it came up, and you'll see. But this is his video where he gets very disrespectful about me. Yeah, so we need to have a little reaction to this.
This is the only time you're going to hear me chat about this Novar FLIP, because I've had a fair few messages him about him now. Messages. He's like. And
the only time he decided to speak about was from his bed, like half naked. So yeah, whatever you're up to there, mate. I don't mind. I don't judge.
Big in the scene and this, that, and never mind. The guy's a fucking idiot.
Okay.
It's only because it's Crazy's mate. Crazy, obviously, he's always insinuating I'm fucking some kind of racist. Right, but all they're doing is just making themselves look like fucking haters, mate. Do you know how many messages I've had from people in the scene?
Haters for what? And they always do this. Do you know how many people are messaging me from the scene? I know people who don't like me. They don't like me because I call out racism. Racist people racist people. When he got people in the scene, if you mean Baz and Rise Above, they're not in the scene. They're not in the scene. They're nobodies. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, I do expect some people to message that. But every single time this happens, these guys always go, oh, everyone's messaging me saying this, oh, you're losing fans. I don't care about losing racist fans. I don't care. I don't care about losing fans that don't understand the hip-hop culture and the significance of it, yeah? I don't care. But they always say it, and nobody's saying it publicly. But yet the whole Bristol scene is agreeing with me on all these posts. All the Bristol scene's agreeing with me. So it's just very convenient that they always say, oh, yeah, so many people in my inbox. Where are they then? Why aren't they saying something to back you? Because they're not here.
Just saying, oh, have you heard about this Novar FLIP calling you far right? Far right? Why can I be far right for when I got a black cat? I mean, come on.
You see what he's done there? How can I be far right for one I've got a black cat? So he's taken the concept of I've got black friends, which is something that all anti-racist people and all people who understand those conversations and are educated on see as like a trope, do you know what I'm saying? Like a ridiculous thing that racist people say to try and get out of it. So he's made that more ridiculous by mocking it and saying, I've got a black cat. So he's mocking the idea of anti-racism right here, like severely. So I don't really see how, I'm not really being like overtly calling him a racist, but when you come out of how can I be racist, I've got a black cat, it very much puts you in a category that you probably are.
Listen, dude's
weirdo.
a fucking donut. It's like, I tell you this, you take anybody out there and spend all day looking at me and you tell me what's far right about it. But furthermore,
I already did a 35-minute video explaining what's right-wing about you, and I proved it conclusively. Steve Allen said, have you seen that Scouse bloke, Darren G, choose life, not a knife? I feel like I might have seen that. Darren G, yeah. I think so. He's one of them guys that does them, like he's one of the kind of guys who do the crime podcasts, right? And he's probably been on James English or that. He's in that circle of crime podcasts and that. I think so. But I bet you, I'm going to look at that because what I should be doing as well is looking at these other anti-knife campaigns and seeing what their focus is. Because, like, I'm sure a lot of them are not focused on police as their solution. Most of them are focused on working in the community. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is, he's saying, forget the community, forget the kids, I hate them and they're bad kids, lock them up in jail. So that's my problem. Yeah, and I want to actually show examples of other knife crime, things like that. So that would be good to find.
our mate are in the spotlight. I mean, this dude's just hating on someone that's clearly trying to make a difference. I'm telling you.
And all this hating on, like, what do I have to hate on you? You are nobody to me. Like, literally, I've never heard of you before this. I never heard of you before this. Someone sent it to me, yeah, because they knew that I would actually have an issue with what he's doing. Someone was like, look at this guy, he's going crazy, targeting the black community about knives. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I addressed it. He's nobody. He has no significant impact in music, nothing like that. Like, my reaction video, I've said it enough times, my reaction video to his music video has 3-4 times the views of his actual music video. And that's not even a lot of views. I'm not getting crazy views like that on these videos talking, but it's still 4 times what he does. So what am I hating on? You're not achieving anything. Like, I think you're only doing this for a buzz for your music video, and I'm probably giving you that. I'm probably giving you more attention than you've ever had.
You know, Novar FLIP, mate. If I was you, I'd wind it in, mate, because you're making yourself look like a fucking idiot.
Steve Allen said G and his brothers have done loads of time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the guys you're talking about. Because I was following for a little while. I don't follow loads of them guys, but I was following Living in London, Daniel Lazar, right? And he was having beefs with loads of these guys, so I ended up seeing a lot of their names from that. And I'm pretty sure I saw the anti-knife thing with Darren G, and I might have seen him go on some podcast, maybe Young Spray. But yeah, I was following it. I followed it from then because one day I'm gonna tell a story about me and that Living in London, Daniel Lazar, have a story. A story I've told on YouTube, a story he's told on YouTube, but we haven't told it as in crossing paths, and most people wouldn't realise it's related. But one day I'm going to do a live about that.
But yeah, whatever. This is the only time I'm going to say anything about this fucking dickhead, because
fucking dickhead, yeah.
Things to do.
Now, all this fucking dickhead donut and all that. I've learnt to not really care about this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? People who know me, like, I don't pretend to be a gangster and all of that, but I've been outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we were doing music, we were outside doing certain things we probably shouldn't be. I, in the past, have let my temper get ahead of myself in the UK hip hop scene. You know what I'm saying? I had a situation before where a man dissed my album on a forum, and he ended up in a very bad way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I wasn't a guy anyone spoke, like none of my people were guys that got spoke about like this on the internet, and that's what's gone crazy with the world. Idiot like this thinks he can talk like that about me on the internet or anyone. Do you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even speak to him about him like that. I just wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do that to my face. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he just, when I say that, I'll say this all the time. Like you'd never speak to me like that to my face, and I know 100% you wouldn't. Yeah, but I also wouldn't speak to you like that to your face without a reason to, because who does that? Who actually is that confrontational when you're talking to someone? Do you know what I'm saying? Stephen Trafford, some chat is a bit hyperbolic, but it's to illustrate and add weight to a point. Hyperbole has its place, but you're always on point. Yeah. I definitely know I play into hyperbole and that. And it sometimes, a lot of the time that's intentional to get everyone to like, oh my God, do you know what I'm saying? To get the people who are going to be reactive to it. And then we can get into the intricacies. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing that to him. You know what I'm saying? It's hyperbolic when I put the title to his video when I said white rapper wants more black youth in prison. Because that's not literally, I got called out for that, but it's not literally what he is saying he wants, etc. Do you know what I'm saying? But when you break down the whole video and the intricacies of it, that is actually what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
My life. Do you know what I mean? I mean, clearly him and Steve got nothing better to do with their life. Like, I mean, all they're trying to do is just make me look bad and bring me down. But all they're doing is just making themselves look like fucking haters. Do you know what I mean? Like
nobody anywhere has called me a hater for this. Nobody. Oh no, actually, one guy did. One guy did on Terror's Wall, who was obviously his mate, and I said the same thing. So what am I hating on? Like, tell me what I'm hating on. What? This guy who has a tantrum and a thing and is making a video for me when he hasn't got out of his bed. You're having a laugh, mate.
Yeah, it's beyond me. But off the back of that, so obviously I had a text this morning from one of my friends just saying the world's going to end, apparently. I think it needs to. I'm not being rude. I mean, I love my son to bits, and there's certain people on this planet I love to bits, but I think this world needs to start again, because, I mean, how you can have a geezer right here that's got no racist bone in his body, never said anything of the sort. Do you know what I mean? The guy don't eat.
No racist bone in his body. Yeah, I wouldn't even say that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I understand racism is a structure we are all raised under. And as white people specifically, we all are involved in it and contribute to it and benefit from it. And we have to be aware of that in order to counter that. So this is not the answer for someone who's not racist. Do you know what I'm saying? And when you've been told what you're doing is going to disproportionately impact young black men, young black boys, and you say, I don't care, then you're choosing to be okay with that. So now you have said and done something racist. You know what I'm saying? Stephen Trafford said his rapping makes him look bad. The politics make him sound like a effing child. Yeah, he's very childish, man. And I just think he's not very intelligent, if I'm honest. Steve, man, wait till we get to the bit where you see this Glasgow, because I know you've joined in that later. You didn't see where I talked about Glasgow. Yeah, he is trying to use this Glasgow thing that happened as proof that he's right, when it literally proves him wrong. So we're going to pull up the Glasgow article and show how he shared it, and we're going to show Akala talking about that Glasgow article and it gives again the breakdown to why everything that happened in Glasgow proves that what I'm saying is right, and everything that happened in Glasgow proves that what he's saying is wrong. And literally, this in the article he's sharing himself, and he just doesn't even realise it.
But know me, this is the thing, like, it worries me. You got people that live out there who reads one page and thinks they knows the whole story. Do you know what I mean? But there's only.
I don't care about. He's saying that I don't even know him yet. I don't care about knowing him. Like, when I'm talking about racism, it's like, let me just be clear. I'm not really calling this guy racist as a person. That's not the issue. Yeah, racism is societal. He's contributing to it, probably unknowingly. But how unknowingly is it if, like I've said, it's being explained to you and you're saying you don't care and you're blocking people? So you're eventually being willfully ignorant, and that's what your white privilege is. He's said that he doesn't believe in white privilege, so that's proving your white privilege, because you're oblivious to what's around you. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Stephen said, really, oh my God, that's going to be a train wreck of idiocy. That's why I'm doing this live today. I saw him post that article about what happened in Glasgow, and he's done videos all getting excited about how it proves that he's right. And I just couldn't believe he was saying it. I was like, how stupid could you be to not realise this proves you completely wrong and use the thing proving you wrong as a... my mind was blown, bro. You know what I'm saying? That it's just insane.
The crazies went on his show, and I know it's to do with him, big story.
And he keeps saying it's because Crazy's gone on his show and he knows him. me and Crazy are not brethren like that. Crazy has said nothing to me about this guy. He's had this whole paranoid delusion about Crazy. He keeps saying that Crazy has told me that he's racist. Crazy's never told me he's racist. So he's just exposing that there was something that went on in the past where Crazy said he was racist. He literally just keeps exposing himself.
Do you know what I mean? But it's only because Crazy's went on his show, and I know it's to do with him because he's always insinuating a gay. Well, yeah, I think he's gay. I think Steve.
Yeah, and to slip there, he's insinuating that he's gay. Boy, is what it is, man.
In the closet gay mind. That's what it is, because he's certainly got a fucking hard on for me. And I'm not the first person to say that. But this is the only video I'm going to make. I'm never going to speak these names again. I will never speak both of their names again.
Because he can't. Because and I know he still ain't watched my first video I done on him. Because he can't look at the actual content of what's being said and shut him down and respond to it. He has to just make this waffle video.
They're not on my radar. I don't look at them. Do you know what I mean? But what I'll tell you this. If anybody out there thinks nobody do think I'm far right. There's only these two fucking people. I mean, to even say
you are.
Is just fucking... But that's...
You are far right. You're definitely right wing. Your idea of wanting police to be the solution to knife crime is a right wing. Politically, it's a right wing solution. That's just a fact. It's just where that aligns politically. The idea that prisons are too soft, all of that is right wing rhetoric. It's just a fact. Like, this guy just doesn't understand anything about what he's talking about.
Part of the reason why I think the road should end, because you've got people out there it's like you could be Bob Marley and be shot at. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could be Martin Luther King and get fucking killed. Do you know what I mean? It's just a fucking...
Because of the right wing. What is he talking about? What? How stupid is this guy?
Well, we live in, man. Do you know what I mean? I could go on and on and on. You could John Lennon, fucking hell, man. Do you know what I mean? Fucking beautiful guy, like fucking shot dead. Like, I could just go on and on and on. You got people out there really trying to do great things. I mean, the thing is,
Wait. Is he comparing himself to these people? Has he got some weird little god complex comparing himself to these people?
All I want is schools to calm down. The fact they grade I'm not even going to fucking explain myself. I don't need to. But, mate, you're a bellend.
Yes, you do.
You're a fucking bellend, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you'd never tell me that to my face. Yeah? But he's saying I don't need to explain myself. Yes, you do need to explain yourself. You're trying to get people to sign a petition. You need to explain why.
Proper bellend. All you're doing is just making yourself look like a twat, like, because at the end of the day, you go and check all my music out, you listen to everything I said, and you tell me what's far right about you.
I did. I made a 35-minute video breaking down, pausing and showing your lyrics and breaking it down and explaining why they're right wing. More stop and search, right wing. That's a fact. Like, it's factually right wing politically. Shout out Bad Slave, aka Terror Slim, in the comments. He's just turned up. Yeah. Terror knows, yeah. When man was actually, there's no way anyone would speak about like that to us outside on the internet, nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? I would say, I know Terror missed it, do you know what I'm saying? But I don't really talk about this online, but I once overreacted to a man saying my album was shit in a forum, yeah? And it left him in a very bad way, do you know what I'm saying? And man, I think they can come on the internet and say, dickhead, donut, twat, and are you having a laugh, bruv? Yeah? Obviously, I'm a grown man. I'm now calm. I do, you know what I mean? I do yoga. Do you know what I'm saying? We can handle this thing differently. So, but I am going to come on the internet and savage him, though.
Fucking idiot, like.
Yeah,
but,
effing idiot, yeah.
Him and Steve's fucking doing the thing, like, in the closet. Who knows? I don't know. Fuck knows.
I don't know Steve like that.
Only thing I'm going to say about these fucking idiots.
I don't know Crazy like that. Not my brethren like that. He's cool. We've got closer recently on him coming on my show or whatever, but that's basically it. I'm saying I spoke to him in the DM after that, and I think that he's cool. You know what I'm saying? I like what's going on in Bristol. I like all his artists and how his artists really mess with me. They come watch the show. They're all supporting this. They're all disagreeing with this guy. The whole of Bristol's with me. Steve Allen said he ain't one of these right-wing rappers the boomers like. Basically, he is, yeah. So, Steve, like, after this, like, go and watch the video on my page, I would say, where it says, white rapper wants more black youth in prison. And I break it down there. And halfway through the video, someone said he sounds like Tom McDonald. And then I went on his Facebook, literally live, in the live, I went on his Facebook and thought, let me search Tom McDonald and see if he's a fan. And literally, he had a Tom McDonald video on his page saying, love this guy. So it's like, yeah, he's trying to be a UK Tom McDonald, basically. Chris Hayes said, Word Life was doing bits, good bits. Yeah, man, Word Life are killing it. Fully killing it. Like, they've got a whole movement, you know what I'm saying, of all kind of rappers, different sounds. and you know, all coming together. All right, let's get his page back up. I don't know how much of this I'm going to show. Bias Slave said Tom McDonald, red flags, red flag, red flag. I'm going to start putting you lot's comments on the video, you know, I just ain't set it up today. I did this like out of nowhere. So here he's at some gym getting them to sign his petition. Hey, we showed the bit where he was chatting to the police. Officer Wayne chatting to police, no surprise. What's going on here? Oh no, that's just him playing, like him lying. Yeah, he goes outside the shop and goes, look, I walked in my shop and they're playing my song. No, you asked him to do that, bro. Where's the one where he talks about, or is this him rapping? I don't want him rapping.
Money rules the world, is everything.
No, thank you. No, thank you. Although you can hear the Tom McDonald in there.
When you don't have none, working like a dog to make a profit, cost of freedom. I'm lost within it all, cause in it.
Anyway, you know, he done a freestyle for 521 on Blades thing that's quite good. He's not like, he can rap, but most of it's quite corny. So here we go. This is literally proofs what I have been saying, guys. I'm telling you now, do not be so flipping ignorant. Is that shot at me? Yeah, don't be so flipping ignorant. Yeah. If you are not signing and sharing this petition, read this now. This is insane. I can't believe, like, he actually thinks. Oh wait, I think there's a video of him talking about it. So let's just watch the video of him talking about this, and then we're gonna actually look at the article. Yeah. Because it literally is saying exactly the opposite to everything he's saying.
Right, so I'll say it like this, yeah? So I've had a few conversations with people, right? Now I've always been one of these people that know, right? This is why I am the way I am, because they say knowledge is power. For me, it isn't. It's pain, right? Because I'm powerless and I got all these no in my head and this, that, and the other. Now, I've always said anyone with half a brain would know this would work. It's been tried and tested in Scotland.
Yo, well, I hope Steve Trafford's there, because I know Steve Trafford knows about this. Sorry, my hair is messy today, man. But he knows about this. He's saying it's been tried and tested in Scotland. It's so... I can't wait till we pull this up and look at this article, because it's literally not what happened. Like, it's just the opposite of what happened.
Right now, I can tell you this government didn't give a fuck about us, because not only did they hang up on me this morning, but furthermore, if you do your research, right, because you all know our Prime Minister, yeah, Rishi Sunak. Clearly you know that fucking prick. Right?
Yeah, of course.
He's been on telly. Now, our country has just given £12 billion in aid to Ukraine, right? If I might not be exactly right with that, but it's 12 billion. He's on there. You could go and do the thing, right? To aid them in tanks and drones, right? So they got £12 billion to spend on fucking weaponry. Scotland, all they spent was 14 million, right? On putting a team together called the FRU, which is a violence reduction unit. Right, so
yeah, violence reduction unit that focused on the community, on helping the community, helping young people, intervention in the family. Not what he's talking about.
Alongside that, and this law I'm trying to enforce, they dramatically.
Steve Trafford, bro, I have the Akala video. I've got the tab open already. We're watching that after. I want to look at the article first, and then we're going to break that down.
Increased knife crime by 46%. That was back in 2017. It still stands that way today, right? They pretty much cut their knife crime in half, right? Now, my thing is this. When I spoke to the people in Parliament, they didn't even know about this. And most of you probably don't even know about this.
I do.
What I'm saying, if
you didn't know about it. Yeah, I saw him write on his thing that he didn't know about it. I knew about it because I watched the Akala video. So I already knew the context of it. He's seen one line in that article and got carried away and run with whatever he wants because he's I don't know if he's a narcissist, what, his brain's not connecting with what's actually going on.
You could spend £12 billion on building fucking tanks and this, that and ever. Surely you could donate, I don't know, 1 billion? Or what, has Scotland done it, just like 100 million? Because I know the UK's a little bit bigger and blah, 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 and whatnot. Guys, come on.
He's talking like the UK, that Scotland's not part of the UK also, which is weird.
Oh man, fuck's sake, like you need to, if you're one of them people say, oh, I don't think it's going to work. Well, it's in writing, in the Guardian paper.
No, I don't not think it's going to work. I know it's not going to work because the thing in Scotland proved to us it's not going to work.
I've been chatting to a lot of people from Scotland and every single one of them are like, man, it's mad that the UK haven't done this yet. I am so fucking disgusted with this government, how they haven't adopted this yet. Because what's going to...
Steve Trafford said he thinks that unit locked up less to stop knife crime. This is so ignorant, bro. Can't read, obviously. Face palm.
Another 5 kids to die, another fucking 100 kids to die. Honestly, I'm being serious now. Now I got my proof now, because before, I mean, I knew that it would work in anyway. I'm not a fucking idiot, right? So, and I'm certainly not fucking ignorant, because it took me 3 TikTok lives. Right, even though I've been banging on about this for a while, all it took was 3 TikTok lives for me to find out this information. Now you got...
So he had to go on the TikTok live, 3 whole times. He had to go on a TikTok live 3 whole times for someone to share him this article. Yeah, and let's not, I bet you someone shared this article to him to prove to him that he's wrong. He didn't clock it. Fox E said she's colorist AF. Who's colorist AF? Is that something to do with what's in my title or what?
Loads of people out there going, oh yeah, you don't know what you're on about. We've been combating this knife crime for ages. So why didn't you know about this then? Because it only took me 3 TikTok lives. Honestly, people, if you want to help these kids, get this petition signed. I'm gonna keep on banging at the Houses of Lords. And anyway, because the way that you pass a bill, right? So you get a bill, you got to pass a bill, you go have a debate, and you.
Foxy said this man is extremely painful to listen to. Well, look at his face. You can tell that freeze frame there is painful to listen to. Don't worry, we won't be listening to him for long. I'm going to get him off the screen. I'm going to talk through the article a bit, and then we're going to get Akala on the screen, and then I'm going to move on.
Got to statistically prove that the law you're trying to enforce is going to work, right? Well, I got it now, and anyway. So the fact that this government and
So wait. He's saying he's going to use this in his argument for this petition. He's going to use this Scotland thing to statistically prove that it works, when it statistically proves that it's the opposite that works. The guy is so mad.
That already is sickening. But I'm telling you now, I'm gonna keep phoning the Houses of Lords, mate. And one day, somebody's gonna fucking listen. Someone with half an art in their chest is gonna listen. But I would implore everyone, stop ignoring this. Stop ignoring this, please. Love you.
Guys, absolutely, so far off the mark. It's nuts. You know what I'm saying? But alright, so let's just get to where he shared that article. Yeah. Here, this literally proves what I've been saying, guys, yeah? We're going to get the article. Oh, wait, I haven't got it on the screen, sorry. Chris Hayes said this guy's going to save Britain. Here we go. This literally proves what I've been saying, guys, yeah? I'm not gonna like spelling shame and like be a grammar Nazi or nothing, but, come on, get yourself together, bro. He's saying, how Scotland reduced knife deaths among young people, and he's literally sharing this on his wall. Now, this is the guy who says forget community action, we must lock them all up, they're horrible bad kids, lock them up. He's literally saying, for those of you who ain't only been here a while, yeah, I'm gonna edit this up into a proper video so you can watch the beginning later. He literally said, I don't give a fuck about these kids, they're bad kids, we need to get rid of them and lock them up, because I don't care if we lock them up for 50 years. So he's literally saying that's his angle. So no caring for the kids involved. And then he's saying that this article here and this action here that happened in Scotland that he didn't know about, that I did know about, proves him right. How Scotland reduced knife deaths among young people. Right? This is the first headline of this. Treating knife crime as a health issue has led to a dramatic drop in stabbings. Of the 35 deaths of young people in Britain this year, none were in Scotland. Treating knife crime as a health issue. What part of that says lock them up for 5 years? Because I'm gobsmacked that this guy thinks this proves anything for him. Yeah, we're going to get to the bit that addresses him, and like I've said from the beginning, I am not saying I'm completely against talking about sentences and stuff, yeah, but it can't be the lead focus, right? And this article does touch on that one little part, and that's why he's got run away. He saw that part and gone, oh my god, I'm right. No, it's not saying what you're saying. And it also says, let me just get to it rather than talking too much, man. In 2005, right, so this is a long time ago for a start, yeah. In 2005, Strathclyde police set up a violence reduction unit. That's what you just mentioned, right? VRU. In an effort to address a problem that had made Glasgow in particular notorious. Later that year, a United Nations report illustrated why that strategy was so urgent. The study concluded that Scotland was the most violent country in the developed world. Hear that? Most violent. And I've seen Akala point out, it might be in the same video. Based on telephone interviews with crime victims conducted between 1991 and 2000. It found that excluding murder, Scots were almost 3 times as likely to be assaulted as Americans and 30 times more likely than the Japanese. The VRU, which is directly funded by the Scottish Government and has an arm's length, has an arm's length relationship with Police Scotland. arm's length. Yeah, cool, we're going to work with you a little, but keep there. Not like his video of going up to them and giving them a hug and filming them. No. Arm's length. Yeah. So I just can't, honestly, I'm going to keep saying it. I can't believe he's actually taken this and thinks this is a win for him. Literally. Was later rolled out across Scotland. It has adopted a public health approach to knife crime in which the police work with those in the health, education and social work sectors to address the problem. The results so far have been dramatic. Alright, of the 35 children and teenagers, obviously the numbers of this way beyond 35 now, what's going on. So it has got worse, like across the country and all of that, you know what I'm saying? But this is showing how doing a specific work in an area has a positive impact. Killed with knives in Britain so far this year, not one has been in Scotland. By contrast, in England and Wales, 2017 looks set to become the worst year for deaths of young people by knives in nearly a decade, according to figures revealed by The Guardian's Beyond the Blade project, which aims to show the true picture of knife deaths among children and teenagers in the UK. Boom, boom, boom. Between April 2006 and April 2011, 40 children and teenagers were killed in homicides involving a knife in Scotland. Between 2011 and 2016, that figure fell to just 8. The decline has been most precipitous, I don't even know that word, in Glasgow, which once had one of the highest murder rates in Western Europe. Between 2006 and 2011, 15 children and teenagers were killed with knives in Scotland's largest city. Between 2011 and 2016, none were. The number of people carrying knives also appears to have declined across Scotland. Right, I'm going to actually try and skip through some of this rather than read the whole article, because this is just giving more and more stats of how it declined. Right, we can kind of gather it's declined a lot. Some of Scotland's success in tackling knife crime is due to factors that are arguably unique to Scotland, but there are also lessons here for the rest of the UK in general and London in particular. The evidence from Scotland suggests that while knife crime, like most crimes, can never be eradicated, it need not be understood as an interactable cultural feature of urban life. To successfully tackle it, however, there needs to be a shift in understanding of the root causes of the problem and therefore what a durable solution might look like. Root causes of the problem, which he is saying is just a bad man gangster mentality and nothing to do with social conditions, right? He's literally said that. I've shown that in this video, so absolutely. Shout out Steve Allen, said he's chipping later. Look out for the video, bro. I'm gonna chop this up into a more like structured video later and re-upload it. The Scottish approach was quite conventional at first. The police played a central role in the beginning. This is the bit, right? This is the bit he's excited about. The police played a central role in the beginning, explains Christine Goodall, who along with 2 other surgeons found Medics Against Violence in 2008, a campaign group which works with health professionals, law enforcement, social services and other bodies to thwart violent behaviour. They campaigned really hard to get the legislation around knife crime changed so people would be more likely to get a mandatory sentence. So these people pushed for that, right? There was also an outset and a lot of stop and search. So these lot, they've pushed for this, right? But remember, this article started saying arm's length involvement of this. So this is a very small part of what this article is. The average sentence for carrying a knife in Scotland has tripled from 4 months to an average of 13 months, right? In these 2 times. Cool. Still nowhere near the 5 years he's talking about. So we're talking about like a 1 year, right? Where people are getting 4 months to 1 year. Maybe that's more realistic. Maybe that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Alongside all these other things. And like I've said, I've never said it's not in the conversation, but it's in the conversation as a smaller factor around all these other things. And any involvement of police action, and Akala will probably explain this better when I play the video. Any involvement of police action has to be in the context of understanding how it's going to disproportionately impact that young black men. Do you know what I'm saying? And we have to be challenging that alongside it as well. The issue, says Godot, were concentrated in certain areas, particularly around Glasgow, using intelligence from police operations. The VRU identified those people most likely to offend, asked them to voluntary attend the sheriff's unit. They did not have to come, but encouraged by community police. A lot of times did come, However, this is just kind of explaining how they targeted gangs. Their police mapped all the gangs, blah, blah, blah. which, as I've shown, Wayne has no idea who the gangs are. The decision to treat knife crime as a public health issue rather than simply a police matter appears to have underpinned both the direction and support. The fact that the initiative, if publicly funded, means strategies can be coordinated coherently and organisations can concentrate on the task at hand rather than constantly looking for money to fund the next project. That makes a big difference. Obviously, these things are all underfunded, so that, we do need that funding to go into it. Charities have completely short-term funding, so we're able to make a more coordinated approach with a more stable support. And Susan McVie, Professor of Quantitative Criminology at University of Edinburgh, points out that police working alone have a limited capacity to prevent knife crime. Fewer than 2% of stop and search in England result in recovery of your knife. Fewer than 2%. Oh my god, I haven't even read this shit. I read some of it at the beginning, and I just saw that like the actual opening of the article completely was against everything he was saying. Look at that. Fewer than 2% of stop and searches in Scotland result in recovery of a knife. So why this was going on? So that wasn't the factor that done this then, is it? Is it? No. What was even... I skipped past that bit because I didn't see the relevance, but I said some of it. What was them targeting the specific gangs and like using intelligence to track them down, not stop and search, yeah, which they already know who these people are. It's not even that hard. It's hard to profile kids who carry weapons because a lot of those who carry a weapon aren't the ones you'd expect. They might be kids from middle-class backgrounds who feel frightened. This is the article he's sharing, yeah? He's sharing this article and then coming online and saying it's nothing to do with feeling frightened. Cool. Isolated and threatened in social situations. Once violence was seen as a public health issue, the conversation changed. We started to talk to offenders and ex-offenders and challenge behaviours and the culture of violence. He's saying he doesn't want to speak to them. They're all bad. We don't want them. They're bad. Lock them up for 50 years. So again, not what he's saying. Giving information about the legal repercussions of violent crime has not proven to be a deterrent. I didn't even know how much this article was going to prove me right. I didn't know how many lines in this thing would. I just knew the general consensus of it wasn't, but that's crazy. Jane Daly from the National Youth Work Agency, Youth Link Scotland, who is National Coordinator for No Knives, Better Lives, a programme aiming to raise awareness of the consequences of carrying a knife and which provides information for young people. Daly cites feedback from focus groups of young people at risk of becoming involved in knife crime, which revealed that the potential impact on people's families, particularly on perpetrators, mothers and victims' families, is one of the biggest concerns. Youth work and positive prevention have been key, she says. No Knives, Better Lives launched in 2009 when knife crime was at a high. It supports work in 24 local authorities in Scotland and involves partners including the police, youth workers and schools. What we are promoting, trying to talk to people about and asking them to implement is more positive prevention. How do we help young people develop the capacity to make positive decisions and, in this case, choose never to carry a knife or do something if they know someone else is carrying a knife? A purely justice-driven approach doesn't work. Everything I've been saying to this guy. We'll go back to it in a minute. Just to remind you, he shared this. He shared this and said it's proof that he's right. It literally says what I'm saying here. Purely justice doesn't work. You can arrest as many people as you like. You can search as many people as you like. What on earth? You can arrest as many people as you like. You can search as many people as you like. You can throw away the key if you want to. It just won't solve the problem. He shared that article. Are you having a laugh? This guy, how could you be so dumb? Like, he obviously, has he just not read it? But he must have read it to have read that line that shows the one bit that he agreed with. Or he got told up, because he said he got this from doing a TikTok live, right? Maybe he just got told this showed something that he agreed and just shared it. Oh, yeah, it's proved right. He hasn't even read it. I don't know, man. McVie thinks there are 3 things that have made tackling knife crime in Scotland easier than tackling it in London, whereas this year 18 children and teenagers have been killed with knives. The first is that VRU managed to efficiently tackle gang culture, targeting leaders and isolating them from followers. Second, she says Scotland has a different culture of violence. Incidents have tended to be over something more immediate, and spur of the moment, often involving an encounter that escalated from an insult and argument rather than the bloody end of a protracted dispute or connected to criminal activity. Finally, there is the issue of trust with the police, which I've raised already in this. In London, institutional racism creates a barrier, argues McVie. If people see something going wrong, they are less likely to tell the police because they don't trust them. In Scotland, where racial bias has been less of an issue, it's been very different. So that's a quite interesting point. So it shows a very different thing. And someone was saying that to me earlier, like Scotland is not East London or whatever, or Bristol. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's an interesting point, that they don't have, they were able to maybe work with the police a little bit more. And even then they said arm's length, like that's a minimal contribution to what's going on here. It's been very different. There is more trust between police and minority communities. Questionable, but anyway, but yeah. It also seems the existence of Scottish Parliament has provided a more accessible polity in which to experiment and innovate. The mantra of the people who drove this was better to apologise later than ask for permission, explains Goodall. So we just did stuff. If we think something's a good idea, we'll just do it. I'm not going to sit around having meetings about it. Politics aside, the scale of the country has also helped. She says there's only 5 million people in Scotland. There's probably 2.5 million across the central belt. The rest are living in the Highlands. That should be a manageable problem. Nobody in Scotland would claim they have cracked the issue of knife crime. McVie points out that the reduction in crime generally in Scotland has not been even, and people remain vulnerable in those communities hardest hit. Our analysis shows that the general crime drop has mainly been as a result of reducing crime amongst those least likely to be victims in the first place, i.e. one-off victims of property crime. I think we've probably covered this enough, right? I'll read that. Let's see, I'm going to scroll through, but because we've made our point, right? I mean, it's come to the end now anyway. Steve Trafford says, sorry, does it say what that plunker asserts was just doing some work, so distracted? No, bro. I mean, it said one little bit where they had they did increase stop and search, and it said they did that a little bit, so they added that to it, and they increased sentences up to 13 months, right? Not 5 years, like he's saying. And they said that was part of it in the beginning, and then they later said that stop and search doesn't work, and that only 2%, less than 2% of stop and searches result in finding anything. Yeah, they basically said nothing about what he said. Crazy. He thinks all of this is about crazy telling me stuff, where it's actually just him being crazy. And I just want to remind you guys, this literally proves what I've been saying, guys. Yeah? Let's just highlight that. This literally proves. Yeah, this literally proves what I've been saying, guys. What I just shared there. This. Yeah? A purely justice-driven approach doesn't work. Yeah? This literally proves what I've been saying, guys. Yeah? Let's just find a couple more that we already highlighted. Like this whole section here. Fewer than 2% of stop and searches result in the recovery of a knife. It's hard to profile kids who carry weapons. Yeah? This literally proves what I've been saying, guys. Yeah? You're having a laugh, mate. Yeah? You're having a complete laugh. The decision to treat knife crime as a public health issue rather than simply a police matter appears to have underpinned both the direction and support. This literally proves what I've been saying, guys. Lunatic. Yeah, I'm going to get his page off the screen now. I'm going to get that off the screen now. Because Stephen Trafford's saying Akala. So I'm going to get Akala up on the screen. And yeah, let's hear Akala say it, man. Because he always breaks this down best. I'm keeping it real. And this is him, this is actually called Rapper Akala on linking knife crime to race. Yeah, so he's going to, I wasn't even linking it to race and all that. We've done that already. Do you know what I'm saying? He's going to really give the breakdown of how this impacts racially.
We get told time and again, look, it's all very well you middle-class white people telling us what the problem is, right? you're not middle class and you're not white. What is the problem, and how do we deal with this?
Well, as I've said many times before, the social indicators, I don't say causes, because obviously there's still an element of personal responsibility. The social indicators for violent crime among young working class street gangs have remained consistent for 200 years. Relative poverty, masculinity, exposure to domestic violence, lack of education. So the solutions are fairly obvious in many ways. Glasgow.
And we've got to look at how, if we want to look at, this was however many years ago, not super years ago, but boom. When he's saying it's still rising, that knife crime's still rising, yeah, then we have to look at what kind of poverty has increased in that time.
So the solutions are fairly obvious in many ways. Glasgow, which was once dubbed the most violent city in Europe, still has a higher murder rate than London. But when we look at serious youth violence, which is my preferred term, if journalists want to be taken more seriously, they should use the term serious youth violence, because knife crime has become a sort of racial buzzword at the moment. Glasgow has seen a dramatic reduction in serious youth violence, to the point that none of the murders of teenagers that occurred in 2017 occurred in Scotland. What approaches did they take in Glasgow? They took a public health approach, they took an interagency approach, they took an approach that saw violence in a holistic way. They saw the link between domestic violence and violence in the street. They saw the link between violence in society in general and violence in the street. They looked at early interventions, basically, coming into young people's lives and families' lives as early as possible and diverting them away from crime. Good education, good jobs, counselling. That was so dramatically effective. So the fact that there's all this hand-wringing and suggestion that an entirely different set of policies should be suggested for London, maybe Birmingham and Manchester.
So let me put this to you.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting,
Yeah.
your view of this. And what I would say to you is this.
What he's suggesting an entirely different thing should be done, and then he's sharing the article, not realising that it doesn't say that.
It looks like in London right now, this is predominantly a problem of young black teenage boys who are members almost exclusively of gangs attacking each other, so that the perpetrators and the victims appear to be almost exclusively young black men. Do you think there is a racial element to that in terms of any cultural issues, racial issues, or do you think it's the same problem they had in Glasgow, where they were white, but actually the race part of this is something that we might look at the statistics and think it's a black problem when it's not?
Okay, so there are several regions of the country, let's just look at the facts, that have higher murder rates than London does. Clearly, throughout human history, black people have not had anything remotely resembling a monopoly on violence. Over the last few years, some of the most horrendous knife attacks, both the victims and the perpetrators, have been white, and they've not been from London, including a 13-year-old girl stabbed to death in Southampton, a 16-year-old stabbed to death in Dinnington, a 7-year-old girl stabbed to death in York, a 5-year-old stabbed to death by its own mother in Oxfordshire. When both the perpetrator and the victims are white, race suddenly becomes unimportant. There is one limited sense in which race may be important. You could argue that only a very particular demographic of young black boys, only at a very particular stage in their lives, feel a degree of psychological self-hatred or contempt for themselves that they project onto other people who most remind them of themselves. However, the black-on-black violence paradigm, so-called, is never used in that way as a kind of psychological self-hatred model. It's used to give the public essentially the ridiculous impression that black school teachers, black doctors, black lawyers, black Premier League footballers, my grandmother, David Adjaye, Oswald Boateng, are all sort of an equal risk of violent crime. And
Well, it reminds...
Exactly. I'm saying, so when we're talking about, we're saying on the other episode that when Stop and Search disproportionately targets young black boys, young black men, that they're 40 times more likely to be stopped. The vast majority of them are not going to be carrying knives. They're going to be regular guys going to school, going to work, living their lives. And it's going to impact them very negatively and create some of this self-hatred he's talking about.
Reminds me a little bit. I mean, it's different, but it's interwoven slightly into what happened in New Zealand, where you have this white supremacist committing an act of horror. Had he been an ISIS terrorist, the immediate reaction from many people would have been, this is a Muslim problem. Because he's a white supremacist, I've not heard people say, this is a white person problem.
Well, precisely. We have enough trouble getting what I'm going to call the racial virtue signalling right-wing press to call white supremacy.
So he's been using that term for a while. Hold up. I'll fix my camera quickly. But that gassed me when he said the virtue signalling right-wing. On the other video that I was, when it was the clip from his book. So I hate this word virtue signaling, innit? Because people say it to me from this side. But now I've never really seen it used in a context that I obviously agree with. But yeah, spot on, mate.
Had he been an ISIS terrorist, the immediate reaction being this is a Muslim supremacist. I've not heard people say this is a white person problem.
Well, precisely. We have enough trouble getting what I'm going to call the racial virtue signalling right-wing press to call white supremacists terrorists by their proper name, let alone to force all white people to explain the bad actions of all other white people. For example, you will never be called upon to explain that not all middle-aged white men are paedophiles, despite the fact that hundreds, maybe thousands of them are convicted of sex offences every year, because it's self-evident that not all middle-aged white men are paedophiles.
I think it's a completely valid point. I do.
Let's look at it in the other sense.
This is why Akala is so good at this. Yeah, I'm saying, like, and he's so good at, you know, he's got the knowledge, he's got the way of articulating it. Because Piers Morgan's an arsehole. He sits there and bullies people and argues against these points all the time. But when he's sitting with Akala, he don't want none of that smoke. Even when he's sitting with Loki, talking recent issues, he don't want none of that smoke.
Young black boys overachieve.
Hold up, pull up, this is important.
Valid point, I do.
Let's look at it in the other sense. Where young black boys overachieve, is race offered as an explanatory factor? For example, British, Ghanaian and Nigerian boys on free school meals, so the poorest sector, academically outperform and are more likely to go to university than similarly poor white, mixed race and black English kids whose grandparents came from the Caribbean. The 4 youngest children in Britain to ever take GCSEs are all black. Romari Wilfred, a young black boy from East London, has a higher IQ than Einstein. Young black men are more disproportionately represented in professional football than any other area of British life, with all of the consequences and implications that has for their contribution to the tax base, etc. So it's almost as if a black person does something negative, the entire so-called black community is to blame. Black person does something positive and they suddenly regain their humanity and their right to be viewed as an individual. What I'm saying is I'm not just talking about what I read in sociology books, I'm talking about what I saw in my real life.
But here's a tough question for you.
Last point about London, sorry. In the last 2 years, it's still important to remember that the overwhelming majority of murders have not been committed by teenage black boys. So, for example, in 2017, there were 117 or 16 murders, 21 of which were of teenage black boys. In 2018, there were 134, 24 were of teenagers in general. So it's also important
to keep that. So the stats can be twisted any way you like.
Precisely.
However...
All right, let me just touch on that just to say, as far as Officer Wayne Webster, you know, he is at least, he's trying to use the argument, he might have seen some of this, to say, oh, it's mostly white boys that are committing this crime anyway, mostly white kids. To say it's not racial to him, do you know what I'm saying? But he has been pointing out all this stuff that actually the police action will disproportionately target black boys and he doesn't care about it, do you know what I'm saying? So he's all in this I don't see race kind of angle at the end of the day. I don't know how much of this video continues to address what was going on in Scotland. I know he kind of gave that context in the beginning, that might be it, but I still want to do this whole reaction on its own for its own merit anyway.
However, let me throw this back at you. Notwithstanding all that, and I think it's fascinating what you've been saying, notwithstanding all that, there is no doubt that right now the knife crime element of murder in London is predominantly young black teenage boys. And so my question for you is there any racial or cultural element to what is going on relating to knife crime in young black teenage boys?
Listen to what you've just said. When you think that blackness is the most important thing to emphasise about these young men, almost half of the young people in prison in Britain, regardless of ethnicity, were in care as children. Almost half of young people in prison in Britain were expelled from school as children. When we offer blackness as an explanatory factor, as if we don't need to know anything else.
Is it irrelevant, though, Akala?
No.
Is it irrelevant?
As I said at the top of the programme, or a couple of minutes ago, in the one limited sense in which it may be relevant, i.e. the idea of a kind of particular psychological self-hatred that affects only a very particular group of young black boys and men, and then only at a very particular stage in their life.
And what is that? Explore that for a moment.
So I'm saying there is an internalized racism, essentially, and you hear this in some rap music in some senses, you see it in some people's behaviours, where basically contempt for black life, only a very particular group of young black boys at a very particular stage
react against it.
Perhaps internalise that. But we never use it in that way because that would mean a wider dialogue about contempt for black life in general. Young parents in Ghana...
Listen, man, Carlo's a G, innit? Just, you know what I'm saying? He's tried to get him and go, yeah, he's trying to get him to say, is like it being a black issue something we need to address? And you know what I'm saying, he's just got the actual answer for him.
Ghana, which happens to be one of the most peaceful countries in the world, despite being one of the most poorest, are not worried about their kids getting stabbed to death on the way to school. No. So clearly this is something specific, if we're talking about that psychological self-hatred element, to Britain and the United States and other places.
Carla, can I ask, because it was the particular point that Alex had made his really important intervention on, prison sentences and
we
increased
go.
police
Yes.
presence and
Yes.
numbers.
Yes.
What effect might they have?
On reducing crime in the long term, virtually zero. A good friend of mine,
Zero.
Dr. Drasinger, did a study all around the world where she looked at prison systems and incarceration all around the world. She found not one country in which tougher sentences in and of themselves did anything to reduce.
Not one country. And Wayne Webster, Officer Wayne Webster, will not watch this. Do you know what I'm saying? We might blur issues, but he will not watch this. He will refuse to watch this in order to continue his campaign of hatred, really. Do you know what I'm saying? He will refuse to watch this because he can't take this. You know what I'm saying? He can't take being proven wrong.
Crime. In fact, in many ways, we can just look across the water to the United States. They may make it worse for reasons that are entirely obvious. We already have the largest prison population in the whole of Western Europe.
I guess we don't hear.
Oh, look at that! Look at it chopped there as well. I wonder how much more to it there was that he actually said there on the day.
This side of the coin enough, and it's very easy for us to sit here, look at a bunch of statistics and think that's the problem.
Well, I think there's a number of reasons for that. I myself was the beneficiary of a Pan-African Saturday school tradition. So in post-war Britain, there were a whole tradition of essentially black Saturday schools, black-on-black education, if you will. And I was a beneficiary of that. Voices from that community and from that tradition have very rarely been heard. But coming back to the point you were making about sentencing, let's remember we've got a couple of centuries of this type of violent youth crime in predominantly white communities in Britain. What has led to reductions and solutions? At the turn of the 20th century in Manchester, it was intervention by church groups. It was intervention by community groups. It was ameliorative approaches, essentially. In Glasgow, the same thing has occurred recently in the last few years, yet we're being suggested the exact opposite policies that have been effective in British history and white communities, both at the turn of the 20th century in Glasgow, in
And that's what I'm saying. So he's just using the example there, yeah? They literally just asked him, is tougher sentencing the answer? And he literally just pulled up the Glasgow example and said, why are they suggesting tougher sentencing as the answer when it's literally been proven that the exact opposite is what works? But this guy thinks sharing that on his wall proves him right. Literal facepalm, like, huh?
Manchester, and recently in Glasgow, we should pursue exact opposite policies in
What would you
London.
say to a young black teenage boy in London right now who might be wandering around carrying a knife for self-protective reasons, whatever the reason may be, very specifically? Well, what would you say to them?
It wouldn't be just to young black boys. As I said, it could be in Greater Manchester, it could be in Glasgow, it could be anywhere. There are a number of solutions. And I think mandatory self-defense in schools could be one of the solutions. Not because you teach anyone to face down people carrying knives. You should run away with someone's carrying a knife. However, when you practice self-defense, it gives you a certain self-confidence. I work in schools a lot, and I see essentially good boys carrying knives out of fear. So I think that can be one of the solutions. I think support for the scores of already existing community groups that exist in the communities we talk a lot about, but not to. I think incentivizing schools to...
You see that? Communities we talk about and not to, yeah? This Officer Wayne here has told us, I don't give a fuck about them. So he doesn't want to talk to them, he wants to talk about them to police and to the House of Lords. It's a joke.
Solutions, I think support for the scores of already existing community groups that exist in the communities we talk a lot about, but not to. I think incentivizing schools to reduce
community
expulsions.
groups,
We know that expulsion from school, that PRU trajectory is basically the beginning of the former head.
The exclusion then leads
the former head of the prison service, Martin Neri, said when the 13,000 kids we expel from school, we may as well give them the prison sentence then and there. I'm not saying it's that simple. However, we could incentivize schools to reduce expulsions, looking at what the cost of the average expelled child costs the British taxpayer and spending that money to keep people in school. So there's a whole load of potential solutions beyond just saying to young people, hey, put down your knives. That
or we'll send you to prison.
Akala, we could talk to you a lot more about this. It's fascinating. I appreciate you coming on, giving us a very different side to this argument and an important side to the argument that should be taken seriously. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you so much. You have a book, don't you? And you're...
I do, yeah.
Go on, the book was out.
Do you want to tell us what it is?
The only guest who's not been trying to plug something. So now's your chance.
It's basically a post-war social history of Britain told through my eyes. It's called Natives, Race and Class in the Ruins of Empire.
I've just been covering this Wayne Webster, Officer Wayne issue the whole time. I think we've covered it. We've very much covered it to a long extent. I don't know how long I've been here. These kind of conversations are going to continue. They're going to continue on my platform beyond talking about Wayne Webster. I think I need to get on some people who are addressing knife crime in communities, doing community work, and talk to them about their solutions. I want to get Akala on one day, of course, but I wouldn't do it through here just on a live. I'd have to do that sitting in a room, and that would be a bigger podcast. Like we've approached trying to do that a few times. He did say he'd do it once, but yeah.